Hi, everyone. You're welcome to this episode of our coffee chatter on We Table It. I'm your regular host, Eno Vwaire, and I'm so excited to be here today. And you're welcome. You're welcome. Take your time, settle in, and help us share this broadcast. With me on this broadcast today, we have someone who is very interesting, I would say. But before I go, I just want to let you know that you have your regular host with me, my co host, Valerie. She's somewhere at the background. Uh, yeah, everyone is excited about this topic and about the guest discussant today. All right, we're talking about skilled migration. We're talking about what is going. I just want to break it down in a way you can understand. We have a lot of people, skilled people leaving the shores of Africa to other continents. To developed countries. What it means for us as a continent, losing these people. This is what we are talking about today. And with me on this topic is, uh, like I said before, an interesting person, someone that I really appreciate. He is the CEO of Buy Lekki Now Reality. So for some of you who are in the real estate, you should know him. Is a force to be reckoned with in real estate, and he is in the person of Dr. Toby Kings or Mowale. You're welcome here on this broadcast, Dr. Toby. We're excited to have you.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much for having me on this
All right,
podcast.
I will do still some further introduction of the person of Dr. Toby so you get to know him. He's a CEO of Baileki Now Realty. Omowole Toby King is an award-winning real estate entrepreneur with key interests in real estate marketing, commercial real estate advisory and strategy, as well as property development and management. He is deeply skilled in small business strategy, sales, and negotiation, and digital marketing. Over the years, Kings, as he's fondly called by friends and clients, has built a reputation University, Benin Republic, where he holds a Bachelor's of Science degree in economics and other key institutions. Toby King is an alumnus of New Horizon, where he studied project management. He is also a Google certified digital marketer. Prior to starting his real estate adventure, he worked in mobile newspaper, mobile gaming, etc. to local and foreign service provider. We want to say once again, Mr. Toby or Dr. Toby, I beg your pardon, you are welcome to this live broadcast. So before I go ahead, I want to quickly
Yeah, thank you.
explain to people who are on this broadcast for the first time what we are about on We Table It. We are a platform where we discuss very pressing issues as it concerns us in our societies, our communities. We are here to dissect the society and then to inspire change in the little way we can. We've had topics, we've had guest discussants come on, very intriguing, impactful topics we've dealt with in the past. I think the recent past we had a topic, misuse of power, and that was well dissected by myself and members of the team. Once again, you are welcome to this live broadcast. Please help us share this broadcast. We want as much as we can get people to be impacted by this live broadcast. My name is Eno Vwaire once again, and I am talking to you live from Lagos, Nigeria. So we'll go ahead Dr. Toby, is there anything you want to share with us first before we even go further? So,
all right, okay, yeah. So you already had my profile. I'm a real estate entrepreneur, and I'm very very enthusiastic about empowering young people. And for us at Bioleki now LT, we are already doing that. We're actually empowering young people to be a better person for themselves. One thing is that if the good people don't empower these guys, bad people would hijack them. And that's why you see terrorism
that's true.
and other social vices happening in our society. It's because the good people have refused to educate themselves. So the bad ones are doing that already. So I think we can change this narrative by empowering young people around us. And the median age of Nigeria currently is about 17. So it tells you um, half of the population is around the age of 17. So the young people make the most of our population. And so we need to focus on them and make sure that they don't turn out to be a threat to other people. Because a lot of people are comfortable and they think they are smart enough, they are doing their businesses, and that whatsoever these youth turn out to be does not concern them. But when they turn out to be terrorists and criminals, they later become a threat to your life and your family's life. So it's our own responsibility to empower them. Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. It's
Yeah, you're welcome.
amazing how much impact you have made in these years that you have been in the industry, the real estate, and the one before the telecom. Before now, we can see that you are actually taking great strides to impact positively those who are under you, either as working for you or those who you have mentored. We want to appreciate you for that. It's not easy to see people who are dedicated to inspiring change in the life of young people. Thank you once again for joining us on this
You're
live
welcome.
broadcast. So today we are talking about empowering African youth, leveraging skills to build our continent amid global talent migration. A lot of people, this in Nigeria, this is a global platform. So we have people from other parts of the world and the continent, Africa. But here in Nigeria, there's this thing we call Jackpa. Everybody, because of the
Yeah.
economic situation right now, we are having everybody wants to Jackpa. The word for migration, they want
Yeah.
to live fast, and this is attributed to the economic situation of the country presently. So we're looking at this, the Jackpa, and in what way can we help the youth to invest their skills locally? You would want to ask a question. Who is a skilled youth? For clarity, we need to break this down. A skilled youth
Okay.
is typically defined as a young individual who possesses specialized abilities. Please help me put that up so they see that. Training or expertise in a specific area, enabling them to perform tasks effectively and efficiently. These skills can be acquired through formal education, vocational training, apprenticeship, or practical experiences. So typically, it could be formal education or it could be vocational education or whatever skill or whatever knowledge you have garnered there is making you qualified to be. So this is for the benefit of those who do not understand what it is to be a skilled youth. So I'm going to go ahead, the next part of this conversation, discuss factors responsible for skilled migration. Why are these people leaving the country? Why is there a Japa phenomenon? Why are they leaving the continent? In Africa, not just Nigeria, in other parts of the continent, a lot of youths are migrating to developed countries. Why is this so? This is a question we'll be answering here on this broadcast. I said before, why Nigerians are leaving is because of the economic situation. So there are no economic opportunities or little or no, I beg your pardon, economic opportunities. And because of that, they have to seek for greener pastures All right. Another factor that may cause people to leave the shores of Africa is educational and professional development. People have dreams. They want to build their career, so they will look for the best place possible to get probably better quality education or knowledge. So when Africa or the country they are in cannot, provide the quality or the kind of education that they would want to grow their career, they definitely will go seek for it in developed countries. Political stability and security is another reason why youths may, migrate from their home to their host country. When there is no peace, when there is chaos, when there is uh, bad governance, when there is, anything that, like in Nigeria, we have the case of kidnapping, Fulani herds persons, or whatever stories there are. People move to places where system is working and security is top notch. So this is one of the reasons why, skilled youths can leave the country and the shores of Africa. The quality of life is another factor that makes people not to remain in Africa. Because if you benchmark with what is obtainable in the West, you'll find out that the quality of life there is much better. They have a system that is working. They have system that is accountable for the masses when it comes to the area of healthcare and so many other infrastructure that one would need to say they have a quality lifestyle. Okay, so professional networks and opportunity is another thing that will make youths leave the shores of Africa. You want to network with those who are professionals, maybe from other clients. Maybe you don't have the luxury in your country, in Africa. Then government policies and migration program is another factor. They see that they could get, this visa or this green card thing. Some of them, I don't know, they apply for green cards, they get green cards in developed countries, and that's the reason why they migrate. Government policies, when it's not favoring them, if they are business persons, for instance, and the tax laws are not favoring entrepreneurs or business people, the youth definitely will be leaving the country to a place where they can get a better environment for their business. Family, social factors is another reason why people migrate as well. When you have your spouse in another country, your children in another country, you guys want to be together, of course, you would migrate. So we've been able to touch on some of these factors that affect skilled migration or influence skilled migration. I will quickly do a recap of what I just said: economic opportunities, educational and professional development, political stability and security, quality of life, professional networks and opportunities, government policies, immigration programs, family, and social factors. So these are the reasons why people would migrate from the shores of Africa to developed countries. I'll go ahead and I'm going to ask a question or ask the doctor to provide insights and examples of skilled migration cases.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. Since 2002 till 2018, we had nurses from Nigeria. We have over 60,000 nurses from Nigeria migrate to the United Kingdom. 60,000 to just one country. So imagine if we're going to take data for USA, for Canada, for Australia, the numbers are massive, massive. I actually met a nurse here in Lagos, Nigeria, that was earning 30,000. This is a registered nurse. She was earning 30,000 naira. Now, this same 30,000 is what somebody else is earning, say, in USA per hour. So imagine you talking to your classmates and you're trying to just oppose the person's earnings to yours. Like, oh, what you earn in 30 days is what this person earn within an hour. Definitely, the margin the margin is massive. It's like heaven and earth. So before you know it, you start looking at, okay, are there ways I can also migrate down to this same country to earn as much as this? Because you can barely even pay your. I know nurses have this license they pay for every year. You can barely even save up to pay for your license with a 30K job. So, and not
So that,
only nurses, we have medical doctors, we have engineers, we have tech guys that have actually migrated. At some point, it was even bankers. Then we are having a lot of tech issues with banking apps and all. Bankers were just leaving the country for greener pastures. And you can't blame these guys. You can't just blame. So you see a lot of people who try to talk
you
down
can't,
on
yeah.
people who want to jack back. You can't, because, okay, you have people. I know of someone who came out with first class, and he was in Nigeria for years without a job. You will see first class students working in a factory earning below the minimum wage, and you expect these guys to remain
Standard,
in the
yeah.
country forever. No, they won't. They won't. They will opt for the good enough pasture. So there are many
Definitely.
cases in different professions of people who have actually checked what their contemporaries are earning in developed climes, and they compare what they earn here. Like, oh, you mean if I should japa, I would earn this much. Like whatever I'm earning in a day, I could earn it. Whatever I'm earning in a year, I could earn it in few days. Though also, I know the expenses are high over there, but the quality of life is much more better. And to them, that is the reason why they want to japa. Yeah. So it would be unfair to tell somebody who has been affected by the Nigerian factor, who is unemployed, who is underemployed, that, oh, you know what, Nigeria is just the best place to stay. Why not just tarry here, stay here for a little bit more since we get better? For a whole lot of them, if they have any opportunity, they would just want to exploit and leave the country. Yeah.
All right. So the next question I wanted to ask you, you've actually touched on that question, but I wanted to go ahead to throw more light on social factors that you think can influence this trend of the Japa phenomenon.
Yeah.
Social, political
So
factors. Yeah.
yeah, so social political factor. So, okay, so recently, let me talk about the political aspect. Recently, we saw the richest man in Nigeria, Aliko Dangote, complain about the interest rate. I think it was increased to 37% thereabout. And they was saying that nobody would employ people who would even want to borrow money to produce and even employ people with that high interest rate. So imagine the most wealthy man in Nigeria lamenting about the interest rate. What's the fate of the average or an upcoming manufacturer in the country? So the policies are anti people. We need to get better policies that would make life better for Nigerians. Already we're in a country where youth unemployment rate is over 40%. So it tells you that lots, almost half of our youths are doing nothing. So we ought to even start looking at how to give grants to people who are already in business or want to start business so that they can set up a business and employ people, because already it's becoming a major challenge in the country, and that's why social vices like Boko Haram and the rest is actually thriving. So we need to actually get our youth, we need to engage them to do something productive so that they can contribute to the national income. Whoever is begging out there, I'm sure we all know that whatsoever you get from harms from people is not added to national income. It's what you earn by doing something productive, either a salary or profit from business, that adds up to the GDP, to the national income. So we need to get our youth to do something productive. So when the youth think the government is against them and not for them, the government is actively working against them. When the youth feel that the government is working against them, they can't, they don't have any incentive, they don't have any push to actually stay within. They just want to jump back. So the same thing with the economic impact. When people suppose they're earning, so that of people in developed climes, they just want to leave. They don't. It doesn't make sense for you to be here. You're earning $30 per month, $50 per month, when you can earn in 3 hours in developed climes. Yeah. So this. these are the reason why a lot of youths are leaving the country.
Yeah, I agree with you. Absolutely. It doesn't really make sense thinking about it now. You see people from other parts of the world, when you benchmark, you compare what the North earns. That's a very good example. The North earns in maybe United Kingdom compared to what they earn here in Nigeria. I've had a friend who's a nurse, or I have a friend who's a nurse who told me at a time not so long ago they were paying her 30,000 for her job, and that is not even up to what they pay her per hour right now when she migrated. Yeah, it's a very crazy
Yeah,
situation. This
yeah.
is where we have found ourselves, and we are going to work out something, hopefully, to limit the migration rate of skilled workers. Thank you for that, Dr. Toby.
Yeah.
Now, for
Well,
our viewers, please, we want to ask you guys to share this broadcast. It's important that we have more people come on. I don't know, I emphasize on this a lot. We want more people
okay.
to come on. So we just continue to the next part of it. We have observed where Western or developed countries actually, hi Valerie, you're welcome. All right, so we have observed where developed countries, they come into Africa, they train some youths or they get skilled youths and help them migrate to their own country. Why is this? Let me ask Valerie that question. Valerie, why do we have situation like that? What is making these people come to Africa to take away our manpower?
Oh gosh, thank you. And I was jumping in with a question, but I'm happy to answer that one first. I think when I look at, and just from experience and observation, why people are coming into Africa to look for manpower, it's because I think first we do have very skilled labor. People are smart and they're quick and willing to do quite a bit of work in order to achieve their result. And I also think it's something to do with mindset a little, touching on what you guys mentioned earlier, where, for example, our what somebody will earn in a month, depending on the job, is what somebody could earn in a day or in an hour where they are. So your the same energy you would have used in the month, now if somebody is going to give you, now it's like 30 times more. Imagine how much more energy you will put into that. So I think that's also a factor as to why people will come. And I think also, once, I don't know this for sure, but I will assume that once you've gotten the person to leave Africa and go to whichever country it is and work there, the possibility of them destabilizing themselves by changing jobs may be also lower. So you're more likely to have the person working with you for a longer time than maybe somebody who would be available locally. I think those are factors that could affect the skills going
Yeah, yeah.
out. Mm.
Mm. The doctor, do you
And
have anything to contribute to that question?
Yeah, yeah. So basically, labor is extremely cheap in Africa. I think it's about Nigeria is one of the cheapest countries all over the world. I was comparing countries, and even Benin Republic, that is not even as big as Lagos. Their minimum wage is higher than that of Nigeria. So labor is very cheap, and so it's yeah, it's gonna be easy for them to entice any Nigerian to migrate and work in a greener pasture, so to speak. And also, this better pay is now a big incentive for them to give their best. So you see Nigeria would migrate down and give their very best. So usually, currently, the fastest computer is built by a Nigerian, the fastest robots built by a Nigerian. When you pay these guys well, they are ready to give their all. Their all. Somebody that has been paid $70 per month, and now he gets if you collect his stuff now, it's getting maybe times 100 of that in a month. You will give his very best. It's very best. So Nigerians will thrive if
That's
they get this same incentive right here in Nigeria. Yeah.
I have a question, and I hope it doesn't deviate too much from this
All right,
point.
so go ahead, Valerie.
Yeah. Thank you, Eno. And my question is looking at even this skilled migration in the opposite way, whereby there are jobs that are available in African countries for skilled people. But what happens in some, I don't want to say maybe some industries or some professions, we will actually import. So we will bring in people, expatriates, people from different countries to take those jobs. And this expatriate will be paid, 100 times what the person locally would have been
That's
paid.
another thing.
But for some
Sure.
reason, we will export our skilled labor to go out there and then import the same skill back in and pay the person we've imported, so much more. So why is that?
Even more,
Why
even more,
does that
yeah.
happen? Yes. What are the reasons for that?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Wow, that's a very
Dr.
brilliant
Tom, you
question.
want to
So
answer that?
yes. So I think it's a lack of we don't even value ourselves. We don't value human capital from here. It's the same thing that happens with our politicians. So you see our politicians will steal Nigerian money, take it to say UK, and they probably use that money to build an hospital, then get a doctor from Nigeria to work in that hospital. And so when they fall sick, rather than patronize Nigerian hospital, they still go to that same hospital in UK that our stolen money was used to build. And a doctor from Nigeria will treat them and they will pay so much over there when we can all bring these resources together here and make things work here. So it's not that we are cost, it's just resource cost. So usually resource cost is a situation whereby you have a country that is very rich in some minerals, and then rather than make the money circulate, some people sit on the wealth and probably take it, lose it out of the country. And so rather than they have a lot of wealth as a result of the minerals in the country, they have a lot of poverty instead. So that's what we are facing, and we are not so patriotic. A lot of people would not want to patronize things that are Nigerian. So lot of politicians don't patronize Nigerian hospitals, Nigerian school, Nigerian everything they do is overseas, except when they are about to die, they bring them back here to bury them here. So that's a challenge. We just think we're not good enough. Amazingly, all of these things come from Africa. Over 40% of the world mineral resources is from Africa. The diamonds, the gold, the petrol, all of it, we have it in excess in Africa. But yet we've not been able to, we're not smart enough to bring all of the human capital needed to refine these raw materials into finished products. And that's why every time we are importing crude products to the developed world, and we're actually exporting the raw materials, then importing the finished product. And every time you do that, you're actually taking your jobs, you're actually exporting your jobs, and you're importing poverty. So it's like an exchange. If you give them the raw materials, you're taking their own poverty and giving them your own wealth. But every now and then, since 1956, when we discovered crude in Nigeria, we till date we are still taking crude down there. Then, in exchange for their own poverty, we give them our own wealth, our own jobs. Because if you find these crudes locally, you create jobs, you would pay taxes and all. I know crude oil has over 100 byproducts. So from one product, you're getting 100 products that are raw materials for other industries to operate. But now you will now buy each byproduct individually, thereby spreading poverty, colossal poverty in the country. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm telling you, this is my goodness, this is so insightful. Just thinking about it now, we are taking in is it their wealth and giving no, giving them our wealth and taking in their
What?
poverty. That's
Poverty.
the word that struck me in what you have just said. Really think about it. We actually, can produce these things. Like, we have the crude
Sure.
oil. Imagine sending crude oil out of the shores of Nigeria to be refined in other places. What stops us from having, this refinery set up and running? I think there's something wrong with Nigeria. We have a non-functional, refinery there in the south that they just abandoned, and after the land has been destroyed with oil spills from the activities of these foreign oil companies, it's just been abandoned. They are not even bothered about fixing it. So what they do is to send this oil out of the country for it to be refined, and we now buy the byproduct from them at a very, very high cost.
Yeah.
So it's something that we need to look into. We need to look into this. I want to quickly talk about how the skilled migration tend to affect Africa. We've talked about it, we've just picked here and there, but I need us to know that brain drain is one of the things that happens to us when our skilled youths are being taken away from us. When we give people our well, this is what happens, brain drain. When we are supposed to have a set of people, like Valerie stated, we have people who are really skilled in Africa. We have them, good ones, that go abroad to do the things that they could do in the country or in the continent. When they leave, it's brain drain, and that is an economic deficit, economic loss, healthcare deficiency as well. We've made an example of the nurse that is a friend to me. Yeah, when these people leave, when we have professionals like medical doctors leaving the country, what happens? Well, this is where we now start having, the big people, those in the upper class, flying out of the country to get healthcare services that should have been gotten in Nigeria. And even the lower class people too will suffer as well, because normally in advanced countries, you have a ratio of doctors to their patients.
The
But in
population.
Nigeria,
Yeah.
you would have maybe one, yeah, having to attend to like a lot of people, so it's a strain. We would not get very good healthcare facility or healthcare attention. So this is the thing that happens when we have our skilled professionals leaving the country. Reduced innovation and growth. There's one thing I have noticed about developed countries like Japan. They do a lot of R&D, a lot of that, and that because of that, a lot of innovation. They know what the problem is, and they are able to
Research.
provide solutions to this problem. But here in Nigeria, who is going to do this research when everybody is going out, when everybody is leaving? Definitely, we will be at a standstill when it comes to development. We will not have people who will come up with innovative ideas. We will not have people who will bring technological advancement to us. So this is a thing that we are talking about. When we leave, I have somebody saying, tell me, take care of the problem that is here. We all cannot run away from the problem. This is a time where we need to change focus. We need to, look back inwards at our country, look at, how best we can contribute. Our quota, trust me, you have something that you can give to the development of this country and of this continent, Africa. So we are going to go ahead to talk about why it is important for African youths to invest their skills in this continent. Why should we have them stay in the country, in the continent? Why should the rate of migration be limited or be reduced? One is for
Okay.
economic development. We just stated it even before I got to this part. We need to have more people when we have the skilled ones leaving the country. And another thing is the benefits of them investing locally is it's going to improve the quality of life of those that are in the country, those that are in the continent.
Sure.
If we have the skilled people here, that the quality of life will definitely improve. You have
Yeah.
good healthcare services, you have people coming up with innovative solutions, you have people who have invested in making sure we have 24 hours electricity, a lot of things, technological advancements. People will begin to come up with innovative ideas, and a lot of things will begin to happen. And before you know it, wherever you are running to, the same development here in the country, because people are invested in making it work. Now, another of the benefits of investing our skills locally is reducing dependency and enhancing self-sufficiency. I beg your pardon. We are so dependent on the West for things, for services, for sometimes we import food. It's sad. We import food product. When you compare our import and the export, we are doing our country a disservice. We get people from abroad, like an expatriates, when we can actually have people who are skilled and who are trained to do the things that these ones outside that are coming in would do, and do it even cheaper. So, when we invest the skills locally, our skills locally, we are reducing we don't need them. That's just the truth. We do not need them. All right. So, and then it decreases reliance on foreign aids, because when there is job, when I beg your pardon, when entrepreneurs are setting up businesses, there are job employment, I beg your pardon, employment opportunities for people, and money is coming into the economy. I beg your pardon. Money is coming into the economy. So there is, no need to depend on foreign aids. I've heard of the case of a country in Africa who has been collecting debts, loans and loans from, I think it's China. And over time, when they could not pay this loan, what happened? Their major, source of revenue was taken from them. I don't know for a time. Their airport, their seaports, and everything is being controlled by these countries that are giving them this loan. I need us to think about these things. There is nobody that is going to give you anything for free, either on in a national level. No one is going to give you anything for free. So when you are going for foreign aids, you should know that there is something that they will be taking back from you in return. All right, so another benefit of investing locally is political and social stability, reducing brain drain, enhancing governance and leadership. When we have people who are skilled, they will come up with very good ideas, fresh ideas for governance, and we will not have this situation we are having. We talked about it in one of our coffee chats, or if not our general broadcast, why we are having old people leading us in Africa, which is not supposed to be. Now, when we have the youth who are skilled coming in, they will come in with, groundbreaking ideas, nice, concept for governance, and turning the economy around. So this is the benefit of investing the skills locally. Then cultural and identity presentation, preserving cultural heritage, strengthening national pride. I want someone to please help me post that the slide. I have it on slide so that everyone can see. The feeling you have when your country is doing well. You are proud to present your passport anywhere in the world and say, I am a Nigerian.
Sure.
Right now, I know it is Nigerians to bring out their passport. It's embarrassing. This is the truth. We say it as it is. We are tabling it. It is embarrassing because you are not accorded respect when you bring out that green passport in some parts of the world. But when we invest our skills locally and we grow the country and the continent, do you know what happens? There will be respect to that name, or to that continent, or to that country. You will become proud to be associated with that country, and it will even help us to preserve and strengthen our cultural heritage. So these are one of the benefits, or some, I beg your pardon, of the benefits of investing our skills locally. So I'll be asking Dr. Toby to provide some example of successful initiative and projects led by skilled African youths.
All right. Okay, so good. A good example is Andela. I don't know if we know about Andela. So Andela was co-founded by Aboyeji. He's actually a Nigerian. He studied in University of Waterloo in Canada, and so he was in Canada when all of a sudden he decided to Jakpada. So I know Jakpa is very popular, but there's also a word called Jakpada. Jakpada means to run back home.
Exactly.
So he was in Canada, he was almost doing nothing. And he said, okay, let me come back to Nigeria. Yeah, so he came back to Nigeria, he set up Andela. Andela did so well, such that even Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of Facebook, invested in Andela. And so in the process, he decided to start Flutterwave. I know we know Flutterwave, the third-party payment system. And so the second initiative became a unicorn that is hit a billion-dollar valuation even before Andela. Of course, Andela eventually also got to that status. Now, so this is somebody who is a Nigerian who is doing so well for himself. At least if you start a business that is worth over $1 billion in any currency standard, you are successful. Imagine that guy is still in Canada, probably is a caregiver or something in Canada, and he thinks he's better off in Canada than coming back home. Because I doubt if he would have ventured into that enterprise if he was still in Canada. So he would have just been wasting his time thinking he's earning better than his counterparts in Nigeria, whereas better opportunities are waiting for him in Nigeria. So he founded Mandela Flutterwave, and now he's on to the next project, that's Future Africa, which is also doing very well. So imagine this guy was just somewhere in Canada, in US, UK, and he's doing his beats, he's being paid per hour. For me, I don't even like the concept of being paid per hour, because you'd always want to trade your time for money, and that's the rat race, because your time is fixed. So if you're told, okay, work every hour, you get $50, it means that the most you can actually earn is 50 times 24. And of course, you can't even work 24 hours, so you still have to at least have 8 hours sleep. So your earning capacity is fixed. So who tells Nigeria that we can't even do business here and earn better than those earning per hour? For me, the concept of earning per hour doesn't really make sense to me. Maybe because I'm a business person. So we can do so much. There are a lot of Nigerians right here in Nigeria that are earning so much more than their contemporaries in developed lands, and they're doing so well and they're fulfilled. So you don't necessarily have to go abroad and to actually make it big. You can look within. In fact, the fact that there are a lot of challenges in Nigeria tells you there are also a lot of opportunities, because for any challenge you could find a solution to, you become a millionaire, if not a billionaire, in Nigeria. So we have power issues. If you can get a solution to a green energy that people won't have to keep fueling and that could power people's houses, you become a billionaire overnight, because almost every Nigerian need that solution. So we have challenge with our transportation, means of transportation also. If you can find a good solution to that, you become a billionaire. If you can provide a solution to the security challenge of Nigeria, you become a billionaire. So there are more, for me, there are more opportunities in Nigeria than in these countries, because a whole lot of things have been fixed already. A lot of things have been fixed there already. So the opportunities are little. So we need to start looking at how to fix our own problems. And also, I'm also appealing to Nigerians in the diaspora. If you've been in that country for 10, 15 years, I think you've actually learned a lot. You can bring back those wisdom down here. We need a lot of people to jack by that. Yeah, and also our government could help by giving incentives and grants to people that jack by that. So if a whole lot of people that are coming back will probably have the money and the experience. So all they need oftentimes is just the enabling environment, and to show that the government have good policies that will actually help their businesses. So if the government is doing theirs, creating the enabling environment, and we don't have an hostile business environment, I think things can be better because I once witnessed a not so very nice experience when I started business back then, and 3 months into my business, FIRS, the Federal Inland Revenue guys, walked into my office and told me they have a letter for me, and in that letter I was owing some 6 million naira. That's is it that's equivalent of I think $6,000 in tax. So they said I've been operating since 3 years ago, and that they use the industrial average to calculate my tax. This is a company I registered that same year, and the bank, everything was the account. So where did you get this information from? So I had to hire tax consultants to liaise with them and all. So imagine this is happening to someone who just jackpot. He would jackpot again because it doesn't make sense. So why should you want to kill a new business? As I then, I've not even made $2,000 in profits, and so you want to take all the profit and some of my capital away, all in the name of tax. So it tells you, are government officials, Yahoo boys, are they fraudsters? Are they trying to? So it tells you, why will you want to even tax a company that just started and you said 3 years tax, industrial average and all? I think government should even give, for a country like Nigeria that is battling over 40% youth unemployment rate, we should actually be giving grants and even tax breaks to new businesses. So in your first year, you shouldn't have any business whatsoever paying tax. That way we can encourage people to come back and set up businesses, because we really see government spending cannot help the country. A few days ago, I read online that the president is asking for another 6 point something trillion naira to actually run some capital projects in the country. All of this government spending cannot even help the economy. It's the micro, small, and medium enterprise that actually helps the economy. So until we start looking at giving incentives to people, Nigerians within and outside the country, to set up an enterprise that would employ people, not until then are we going to fix the Nigerian economy. Not until then are we going to stop this jackpotting, because every now and then, imagine if countries like Canada allow Nigerians to move down visa free, the country would be almost empty. So a whole lot of people are still on the queue trying to jackpot. Either they've not met the requirements in terms of finance and other documents. A whole lot of people still want to migrate, because every now and then the government is communicating with people that, see, we don't want you guys here. We're not so friendly. Just leave the country for us. Because for me, I just didn't understand why I had to pay that money then. Like, I just started this business and you demanded for so much. Thank God for professionals that step in and help us. And so one of the argument was that on the day the company started operating, we had to come and give them some form of notifications. I'm like, who does that in a country where a lot of business enterprises are not even sure if they are going to break even? So you want them to come and tell you they've started when they are not even sure they would even be in the business for 1 year. But the good thing is that we're still standing, and there's still a lot of policies that are not so friendly to business people around. You see them, and at times you ask yourself, do you still want to continue doing business in Nigeria? Yeah. But some of us have thick skin. Despite the entire challenge, we still make profit and still employ people, and we're still employing and doing the business. But I think the government can do better, creating incentives deliberately. So you see countries like Canada and the West that are taking our skilled youths. These guys are very intentional about it. So they have a scheme, they have the entire process. The same way I think our government needs to be intentional about attracting our skilled human capital back. That is Japada, making sure that we bring these guys back, because this brain drain thing can actually be a capital gain for us. That is, when the Japada, they are bringing their expertise, their wealth of experience back. They're bringing the better education they have there, the research they've been exposed to, and all. They're bringing all of these things back here to build a better economy here. So we should have a blueprint which will be very, very deliberate with that. This is a strategy to attract these smart guys back here into the country and engage them, not just bring them here to retire, but to contribute their wealth of knowledge they've gained over the years back into the economy. this way the brain drain thing can now change to brain gain. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much for that, Doctor. In fact,
You're welcome.
there are questions we would ask you after now, but you've already thrown a lot of light into them. And yeah, in fact, you are so packed with information that I'm just hopeful who will see this broadcast. My goodness, there was something he said, because there's a question I'm
Thank
going to
you.
be asking you about how we can help youths to upskill, and you've already, given an insight into that. There was something you said about there are opportunities everywhere. I hope people are listening to us. There are opportunities everywhere. You can just look for a problem and be the solution to that problem. One of the advantages we have, according to what the doctor has just said, is that we have population to our advantage. So there are lots of people who would definitely come for the services that you would provide. So look for a problem, be a solution to that problem. That is one way, a step towards, getting yourself fulfilled in this country instead of the Jackma situation. All right, so I will go right ahead to read some of the, comments we have on our social media handles. I can see a question from Shaking Tables, and that question is for Dr. King. He says, irrespective of the opportunities, like you have stated from your experience, what are the greatest stumbling blocks of the average youth in actually deciding to start a business? I beg your pardon, is actually deciding to start a business. Oh, I think I got it all mixed up. So I'll go back to read again. It says, irrespective of the opportunities, like you have stated from your experience, what are the greatest stumbling blocks of the average youth in actually deciding to starting a business that is a solution to the problem? So I think we would have him rephrase that question, or whoever, Shaking Tables, please, we would like to have you rephrase your question if you are still watching us. Now, Valerie asked a question. She says, oh, I don't think this is a question. She said, that is so insightful, making the business environment for new businesses much friendlier to encourage more people to create businesses. Yeah, I quite agree with you. So I'll just go right ahead to show Valerie's comments. Uh, Making the businesses of the environment for business be friendlier to encourage more people to create businesses, offer employment, stabilize, and then pay taxes. That can make a difference in Kenya as well as Nigeria and other African countries. This is so true. I would like Dr. King. I don't know. Did you understand the question that Shaking Tables
Yeah.
asked, so that we can
Yeah, I
quickly
think I
look
think it
at it?
was
All
asking
right.
the stumbling blocks as to the youth have settling up their businesses. Yeah, I think for an average African youth, if you ask them why you're not into a profitable enterprise, it will be capital for. Yeah, so I think also you can actually start small from wherever you are. So there's this popular saying I usually tell my staff that whatsoever you don't have, you don't need. Yeah, so you can start small but go big.
Mm,
So the crime, it's not a crime for you to start small, but it's crime when you stay small. So you can start in your own little way, start up something profitable and upscale. So you have that at the back of your mind that you have to plug in lots of your profit back into the business to upscale fast. So it's not bad that oh you started and you're the accountant, you're the delivery guy, you're the managing director, you are all in all. Yeah, it's not a bad thing. So far you're profitable and you have your goals set down. So far the business is visible, that is viable, you're making profit and you know where you're going to fast, very rapidly, you can actually put a good part of your profit back into the business to expand quickly. You'd be amazed that a whole lot of businesses we have right now, even the likes of Michael Dell Computers and the rest, they started from their dormitory. So they were students. Mark Zuckerberg started on campus. They were students and they didn't have all the grants or the loans or anybody coming to give them so much money. But these guys were determined. They know what they wanted and they started off and very fast they upscaled. So you don't need all the. In fact, oftentimes if you give, nobody wants to give a rookie $1 million. to start off, because oftentimes you probably might not be able to manage it. So it's good that with the little you have, you start up and make some profit. In fact, over time, some of your partners and the vendors won't mind to even give you your raw materials upfront on credit. That way, you can use all of that to upscale fast. So if you're waiting for that time that somebody will just throw $1 million on your lap, that time may not come. So start very small, but go big, upscale.
All right, thank you very much. We are going to be looking quickly at um, ways to empower the youth, ways to help them upskill. So I'm putting it in such a way as a roadmap to help African youths upskill. I'm going to be sharing this right away. All right, here we are. Kindly share this post, the broadcast as you come in. Kindly share. We want to read you for those of them who are still, yeah, they are yet to find their paths. Now, we want a solution to the problem of, mass exodus or the japa from the continent. So what do we do to make sure that these things reduce? As one, I would call a revamping of formal and
Okay. Okay, don't worry. Okay, don't worry. I want to share. Okay.
All right. Let me support Eno. I'm seeing she's having some challenges with her tech, and hopefully that'll be sorted out.
a lot of areas.
Eno, you're back. Sorry, your tech, you were loading.
Oh, I'm
So
sorry about that. My network has been crazy. Please bear with me.
no
So I was
problem.
saying something about revamping our formal and vocational education system. I said that one of the problems we are having in Africa is corruption eating deep into the fabric of the society. So it's affecting every sector. Even the educational areas is being affected by corruption. So for us to help our youths, we need to deal with that cankerworm that has eaten deep into our educational system. We need to revamp it. We need to, provide every of the resources that they will need to get the formal training and the vocational training they need to be set to. We need to give them access to technology and digital skills. This is an era of digital and innovative advancement. We need to make sure that our youths are at par with the youths of the other continents where we migrate to. So we need to, provide the avenue for them to gather more technology skills and digital skills. Yesterday we had technology outage, I think with Microsoft, and just imagine from the United States, one person's technology is holding the whole world to ransom. Why can't we have things like this in Nigeria? Why can't we have people who are founders, who are innovators, who are, we need to have these things. So we are recommending that the government of our continent, different countries, should look into giving the youth access to technology and digital skills. Then entrepreneurship support. Dr. King said something about, the issue of tax frustrating the efforts of entrepreneurs in the continent. Basically, there should be a kind of waiver for starters, for entrepreneurs just coming into, the business. There should be waivers. I mean, tax waivers. They shouldn't chase them away with their tax, with taxations and all that. So mentorship and networking. We need to have specialized professionals mentor the youth. We need to provide a platform for this meeting to occur between the specialized professionals and then the youth that need, I mean, the ones coming up. They need to be mentored, and the networking with people of like mind will help them to sharpen whatever skills they have. Policy and institution. I think in Kenya there was something that, and it's still ongoing. They have about, I think next week is going to be a month of protests. It started by a call for a tax reform, a tax law reform. So many things that the governments of our countries in Africa need to put in place to make sure that the economy is going smoothly and the youth are benefiting from the system. So policies like we mentioned, look into those taxes, just create policies that would support entrepreneurship, entrepreneurship, use friendly, yes, that's it. Entrepreneurship friendly policies should be set up. Institutional support should be put in place. Then community and peer support, whatever it takes. Create hubs. I know in Malaysia they have this, I call it an organization or something that has to do with technology hub, where the youths are encouraged to come in, sit with people of like mind, brainstorm, come up with ideas, innovative ideas, and they get people, investors come to the same hub to meet with these ones that have come up with their ideas, and then they pitch these ideas, and investors take the ones that are viable and sponsor it. So we need to have this kind of community set up for our youth to be upskilled. International collaboration and exchange program, where we can have people go for a while and maybe just grab one or two professional knowledge from those that are really very developed and bring it back immediately to establish in the continent of Africa. We still need to work with those in the other parts of the world to make sure that we will glean from their wealth of knowledge and resources, and will bring it in to make our continents better. There are other places we can talk about upskilling. I think I will leave that. Dr. Toby is really very vast in that area, so he can still give us a few upskilling tips for the African youth. So it's over to you, Doctor.
All right. Okay, so yes, so there are different ways we can actually upskill. Let me start from the macro level, from the government. I think some time ago during the address, when after he gave amnesty to the Niger Delta guys, quite a number of Nigerian youths were taken overseas. I think to countries like Italy and the West people. So some of these guys learned how to make shoes and all, and they came back and started doing their stuff. So I think we can look for Nigerian youths who are already in business now, not those who just want to venture into business. Because for those who have not started, if you expose them to all of these, they might not follow through. So, but we can look at Nigerian youths who are doing creative stuff in their arts and the likes, and get them, expose them to the best practice all over the world. So you get somebody who is making handmade shoes and take him to China and let him see how a shoe plant looks like, and teach him how the technology around it, so that he doesn't necessarily have to make handmade shoes again. He can learn how to operate machines. So rather than make one or two shoes in a day, he can mass produce 1,000 shoe in a day. So, because I think Africa is very, very ripe for industrialization, we should look beyond just doing little the days of just using hands to make one or two things. We can mass produce. We can do these things on large scale. So the government can expose them to the best practices, the technology, the equipment needed to mass produce their stuff, and probably also give them grants rather than sponsor white elephant projects that nobody sees. You tell us rice pyramids that doesn't exist, and yet rice is still getting more expensive. Why not invest in these youths that are doing something productive already? Take them to China, take them to Japan, take them to Taiwan, let them see how to mass produce stores and bring them back here. Get them the equipment. You don't
Yeah.
necessarily have to give them cash. This equipment, get them these machines, and let them start producing. This way, you can even give them a target of empowering maybe 500 youths every year. Before you know it, these things has a great ripple effect in the economy. If you empower 500% and that 500% empowers another 500%, in no time we'll take our youths away from the streets. So government itself needs to play a big role. Let's look beyond these projects that are not working. Let's invest on the people, the human capital. They are our greatest investment, the best investment
Yeah.
ever our country can. The best thing ever they can invest in is human capital, because the roads would eventually get bad. The the project, the government project, in fact, a lot of them are not even existing, which we know.
Yeah.
But when
Infrastructure.
you invest in, yeah, when you invest in people, not only that the people that are dependent on them, wives and children, but also the people that also part on, creates a ripple effect, and it continues that way. And before you know it, everybody's better off. Like the story of Andela I mentioned, is training little teenagers on tech. And before you know it, these guys understand the tech thing and still empower some other persons. And before you know it, things are turning around. Like in our company at Pilek in our LT, we're taking interns. So we're taking O-level graduates, bring them in, teach them the soft skills of how to sell and technical skills about the real estate business. And we have success story of teenagers earning millions. Like one of them is in his second year now, and he's earning millions. And he has a deal that there's this 100 plot deal the guy closed. From now till the time he will finish
Wow.
in school, the client will still be paying. So he's guaranteed of money from now till the end of the school year. And so this money already is even putting part of it aside in savings to later invest. So this guy would come out of the university and he will need to get a job because already he has been empowered. So imagine if government makes sure that there's an initiative that get people empowered, and the people are given a tax that once you set up, you have to empower nothing less than 100%. And so those same person they empower, they are also doing that same tax to empower other persons. In a little while, all of this unemployment rate would disappear. But we were looking at every now and then when we talk about investing, we're looking at projects that will be embezzled, drainage, gutters, roads, refineries that would eventually work. Let's think human capital first. Let's invest in people. And also in the micro level too, if you have an enterprise that is doing well, look out for young persons, put them on a scheme, give them some amount every month, and train them to have that same skills and such that they could set up themselves in few months or a few years time, thereby continuing this same cycle, having a good ripple effect in the economy and impacting our community at large. So I think if we have the same mindset that we can make things better by taking these people off the streets, things will be way better for all of us.
Wow. I agree with you. Thank you, Doctor. Yeah, we should. That's the
Welcome.
mentorship we're talking about. You see those under you that they are aspiring and they are prospects. You can actually mentor them. You can even provide the resources that they need to fly. So thank you for that. This is really this is apt. I want to ask you, what do you think that the government of our continent, different countries, should put in place killed migration? I want you to just hint on that. I know we've touched on it, just sparingly, but I want you to really dissect it. What are recommended policies that our governors or our leaders should, or actions that they should put in place to retain our skilled youth?
Oh, that's a good question. So the first and foremost, I think we need to look at an economic integration for Africa. Yes, an economic integration for Africa. I know we have an economic integration for West African states, which is to my own standard, is not working. That's the ECOWAS thing. So what I mean by economic integration is a system whereby you can produce in Nigeria and sell in Egypt, sell in South Africa without paying any custom duties. A process whereby you could probably have a skill that is needed in Ethiopia, and you could go there, render the service, and come back here. You could render a service remotely here in Nigeria, and you're servicing a company in Kenya. So we need that economic integration, but we would also have a common currency. I know the currency issue. I know the French won't actually will actually find out this, because I know the West African countries that are colonized by France, their currency is tied to theirs, and they won't want to leave them. But it will be very, very smart if we have a common currency in Africa. It will actually enhance commerce, because you won't have to start converting naira to CDs to SEPA to trade. So we'll have a common currency. We'll have almost no borders. So definitely we'll still check the inflow of people, but people can easily move to other African countries to do business without being hindered in any way. This would actually help the jackpot syndrome. It will stop the jackpot syndrome. So people who countries that have comparative advantage in some areas can now produce for other African countries, such that Africa is self-sufficient. So we don't have to always depend on China, always depend on Japan, always depend on US for things. We can actually build ourselves together. So we have, if possible, we have a common military. That is, we have just one military that protects the African soil. That way, our will have probably have the one of the largest military might. We'll have one of the strongest currency, and also commerce will thrive within Africa. So you'll be amazed that it's quite challenging to even trade with Benin Republic, a neighboring country, despite the closeness to Nigeria, because of a lot of restrictions here and there. But it shouldn't be. People should be able to do business with African. We are all Africans. We're brothers. We should be able to trade with each other. We should be able to move freely within Africa and do business and build Africa. Africa is ripe for industrialization. We need to help one another. So I think on the macro level, we need to look at economic integration first and foremost, such that Africa can build itself. Nobody's going to come build Africa for us. We need to build our states. So common currency, no restrictions of movement of people, goods, and easily services can be exchanged, and if possible, a joint military. That way, Africa will be a threat to other countries. Yeah, will be a major threat to other countries. So that is, I'm proposing a United States of Africa, where we have same military, same currency, and all. We could still have our individual currencies, but the joint currency would help in trade within African countries. And so for also killing corruption, a lot of African countries are not going because of corruption, from Nigeria to Ghana to South Africa. Corruption is just one thing that is undermining the growth of African countries. If we can kill corruption, we would forge ahead. Then also, Africans need to be more patriotic. You hardly see made in Ghana products in Nigeria, made in Kenya products in Nigeria, or made in Egypt products in Nigeria, and we rather just go and patronize China. And quite a number of these things can be produced locally in Africa. So we need to be more patriotic about the things we produce. So we should rather source for produce from African states than look outside Africa. I know there was a time China shut their borders and they produced everything they consume because they did a start and discovered that for every stick of cigarette smoked all over the world, one is being smoked by a Chinese person. They discovered that they are the biggest consumers, and so they shut their borders and start producing massively. And today they are enjoying the benefits. So I think Africa too, we could look at that rather than shut our borders against ourselves. We could shut the border against other countries and produce for ourselves and become the giants which we really are. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. What you have suggested, we need to encourage, countries in Africa. And I think the recommendation to have a common currency will suffice. I know some people would say maybe that wouldn't work. We have, I think that's existing in continents like Europe, where we have people using the euro as a
Yeah.
common currency. But over time, we are having the Brexit. We are having, some people saying they want to use their own. We never can tell, but I think it's a step in the right direction. Maybe something else I would like to maybe add to it to recommend myself is the government employing some of the economical instruments of growth, like they should use the quantitative easing, pump in funds so that it could encourage more, focus on research and development, you know, uh, electricity. I mean, the infrastructure that we need to get more quality life. I mean, to make the countries stable, more secured, everything that they need. It's just maybe focus or pour in some more money into it. I mean, when you invest, definitely get a return for that investment. And I think you hinted something about, the capital flight. When they pour in money into this human resource, I mean, into this youth, I think there should be something like an undertaking to make them know we're investing in you. You don't, you must invest back. You must put back, the same energy and multiply it, carry it for, pay it forward, mentor people. If we have trained you or we have, empowered you, you try to empower as much as you can. So reduce, the capital flight by making them, have an undertaking or something like that. So I'll quickly recap what I just said: employing quantitative easing, that's pouring in money into the system to encourage. Uh, I mean, for instance, development, empowering them, entrepreneurship, giving them all the training that they would need, providing the infrastructure that is needed, because one of the problems we're having is electricity. Most of the businesses are suffering today because of electricity. If you don't have electricity, how do you function? You have to pay a lot for fuel to run your business daily. So the government need to look at this seriously. They need to look at this seriously. Let's not forget we need to do a lot of research and development. One of the fastest growing, developed, but the rate of their development is so rapid. Japan, I hinted on that before now, because of the research and development they do. So we need to invest in these areas. We need to look at these areas very, very well. Let's not forget how to empower our youth with digital skills as well, technology and digital skills to help them to be at par with those that are outside. I mean, the youth. Like I would tell my staff, members of my staff, I'll tell them we need to be competitive. We need our youths to wake up, to be competitive when it comes to their counterparts in developed countries. So this is about. I will just quickly share at a stage. Thank you for watching. We want to be reading. Confidence Ucha Igbia. She says, wow, I am definitely getting value here. I love the fact that Jackpada is very possible. Thank you, Dr. King. Yes, it's very, very possible. Very, very possible. Yeah. Once the government puts into perspective all that is needed to support the youth in the country, I think we can country, infrastructure, finance. Let's not forget security. Make sure that people are secured in the country, because when there is security, when there is unrest, people want to go to places that are safe. So I'll go right ahead to share skills and mindset. We're about to round up this session. Skills and mindset needed in developing Africa. Essential skills, technical and vocational skills, entrepreneurial skills, leadership and management skills, digital and technological skills. We said that critical thinking and problem solving. I wouldn't, because of time, we can't break that down, but we will be sharing them in post over the week. There was something I was supposed to share with you when we started. I will do that just before we end this broadcast. We'll go ahead. Progressive mindset attributes. These are the skills and mindset needed for developing Africa. Resilience and adaptability. Collaboration and community focus, ethical leadership, and integrity. I mean, I need to emphasize on this one, ethical leadership and integrity. This is one of the major issues we are having. We need leaders who are people of integrity. We are not having that in Africa. So this is where we are having a very, very big problem. Then global awareness and cultural sensitivity. Sustainable thinking is one of it as well. So just 5 days ago, if I'm not mistaken, July 15th, the world celebrated World Youth Skills Day. I'm going to be quickly sharing a snippet from a clip I just gathered. I think I got that from World Skill profile on X. So I'll be sharing that with us so we can have a feel.
Around the world.
This year's theme is Youth Skills for Peace and Development.
Come with us as we make
Happy World Youth Skills Day.
To all the youth celebrating skills around the world.
This year's theme is Youth Skills for Peace and Development.
Come with us as we make our mark on the
communities. Skilled young people innovating technological solutions, startups, and new platforms across countries.
When you think of peace, you think of development, you think of the future. The youth are future.
We all bring fresh perspective and innovative ideas to tackle long-standing issues.
I believe skilled young people have the power to be the change maker for a more peaceful and sustainable world.
All right, so sorry about that. I think from my end, I was not seeing these things clearly. My network has been crazy, like I said, but I'm sure you guys have seen that, where the world is coming together to support and to celebrate youth skill. We as Africans should endeavor to, follow suit, to encourage, support, and provide incentives for our youths who are performing well. Dr. King, do you have some final words before I call on people? Or before we do that, we quickly want to see if we have any questions. At this back end, it's a good time to say so because we're about to round up.
Yeah, so in all of the mess of the... Okay. Yeah, so in all of
it's okay,
the...
go ahead, Dr.
Yeah, in all of the brain drain, I think also there's the positive side of it. That's talking about the remittance from Nigerians and Africans in diaspora. For I don't know for other African countries, but for Nigeria, last year it was over $20 billion that was remitted back to Nigeria, and this largely from Nigerians in the diaspora. So also somehow this money has a ripple effect on the economy. So, and I know other African countries to Ghana, South Africa, especially those that have a massive citizen in the diaspora, they're actually getting so much of remittance. So it's all not doomed for Africans or African country. Um, the Africans in diasporas are also emitting money back in terms of for welfare, for investment, and the likes. Like in my industry, over 60% of people that buy properties are people in diaspora. So it tells you that it's not all just doom for Africans. So if we can draw a strategy around it,
Yeah,
it's going to end. It's going to end well. Most importantly, let's get these people
yeah,
to come back and invest home. It will actually open up African countries to greater human capital, greater
yeah,
love capital,
yeah.
and,
So I
and all.
think, all right. So sorry about that. There's been a glitch, so it's making me not hear you very clearly. But however, you said something about the, you know, skilled workers in diaspora. I'm glad that we have a body that's taking care of Africans in diaspora, or have a body that takes care of that. So I think because one of the ways we said we can help curb the migration of skilled workers or skilled youth is to create communities for them, mentorship and all that. In that light, we are doing well. So we need to, create this community, make sure that they are running, and make sure they are providing support, information for those in diaspora, and impressing on them to come back home to invest in their country, so that there will be an increase, I beg your pardon, in the rate of the dark matter. I like that word. I'm just hearing that for the first time. The dark matter, the jack matter. You said jack matter, I beg your pardon.
Yeah, Jack
So
Bada.
yes,
Yeah.
the returning of people who have left. So they're coming back. Yeah. So when we have this community, they are being reminded that there's no place like home. You have to come home. You have to, invest in your country. You have to build your country. These communities abroad in diaspora, they would help. Thank you so much for that, Doctor. I think it's
Thank
time
you.
we hold it a day on this stage. On behalf of myself and my team, I want to say a very huge thank you to you. Thank you for joining us today. Your coming here has been very, very insightful. We don't take your presence here for granted. And for those of you who are just tuning in, this is Kings of Buy Lekki Now Realty. He's the guru behind real estate. Is one of the forces to be reckoned with in real estate here in Nigeria, and open for partnership. You can inbox us. You can look for his social handles and inbox him and get connected. Thank you once again for joining us on this program. And for
Thank
every
you
one
for
of
having
you who
me.
have joined us, thank you for spending time. Thank you for your comments and your interactions. And I want to say a very big thank you to my co-hosts and the guy behind the scene, Bunny and Valerie. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Osaro. You all have been awesome. We are hopeful that we would, in no time, have a change of the situation, have a much more better society, better community, better countries in Africa, where our youth will be, encouraged to stay back home and invest their skills. Until our next broadcast, it's bye for now. Thank you for joining
Yeah.
us.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.